Welcome back to Hardball. When President Obama arrived in Copenhagen earlier today, climate talks were unraveling. Now Obama and world leaders have a plan, at least, to move forward. And China, which had been stalling on the issue of verification by outside inspectors, has apparently given in.
Today we've made meaningful and unprecedented, a meaningful and unprecedented breakthrough here in Copenhagen. For the first time in history, all major economies have come together to accept their responsibility to take action to confront the threat of climate change.
Well, the Copenhagen Accord, brokered today between the United States and among China and India and South Africa and Brazil, requires each of those countries to list the specific actions they will take to cut emissions by CO2 and by specific amounts. It also calls for $30 billion through 2012. That's not too far off for poor countries to help them prepare for global warming. Despite all this, today's agreements are not legally binding, so will they really make a difference? Pat Buchanan is an MSNBC political analyst, and Bob Shrum is a Democratic strategist. I'm going to start with Bob for the offense here. Bob, is it really important, and why, that this president really make an effort at dealing with climate change, the man-made consequences that lead to the greenhouse gases, the danger to the planet, the warming of the planet, the danger of what may confront our children and grandchildren down the road?
Well, the danger is very real, and you have even conservatives like Angela Merkel in Germany who recognize that danger and don't deny the science. The president had to get out there and show the U.S. was committed. But you know, the biggest lesson of today in some ways is on the big ones, don't bet against Barack Obama. He was in trouble in the presidential campaign. He came back. Everybody said he was not going to get a stimulus package. He came back and got that package. Earlier today on this network, people were saying this whole thing is unraveled. Nothing's going to happen. He got it. And he's going to get it. He's going to get his way on health care, too. So I think we have to understand that this is someone who has not only persuasion skills, but leadership skills, who's very calm, who proceeds ahead, and who got something very important done today.
Is this a smart direction for the United States, Pat Buchanan, to be a leader on dealing with man-made climate change? Yes or no? Or should we be out on this fight like the president is right now?
No, I don't believe that. First, there has been a bit of climate change. The hottest year we've had recently, I think, was 99 or 98, 97, somewhere around there. It's held flat for about 10 years. I think there has been
the hottest decade in history, Pat.
Would you hold up a minute?
But it's
here?
the hottest decade. You keep citing facts that aren't facts. It's the hottest, warmest decade in history that we've just gone through.
And it's been like hell, hasn't it? Look, this is just, you know what this whole thing is about? This is a fraud and a scam and a hoax. And the bottom line is that
fraud. What is a fraud?
A fraud is this whole idea that, okay, it is doing warming, that man does it first and foremost.
So you don't buy the science?
I don't buy that man does it. I don't buy
You don't buy CO2 emissions are mounting up out there in the atmosphere?
They are mounting up, but I deny that these are responsible for global warming. And quite frankly, an awful lot of scientists agree with me. I deny that it's injurious.
There are no serious scientists who agree with you, Pat.
Well,
None.
let me give you one fact. The Arctic, there's no doubt about it, the polar ice cap is diminishing. Antarctica is 9 times as large. Eastern Antarctica is 4 times as big as Western Antarctica. It is growing by 100,000 square kilometers every decade. 300,000 square kilometers since 1979. It's not even mentioned because it would undercut the argument.
Is the ocean rising or not?
The ocean is not rising to any extent that bothers anybody but Bob Shrum and all these folks.
Do you know people buy... Do you buy fire insurance?
Do I buy fire insurance?
Yeah,
sure.
For your home. Because there's a possibility that there'll be a fire, right?
Yeah.
Now, why do you do that? Do you think there's a possibility that there's climate change out there going on?
There's climate change going on.
No, is there a possibility that man's contributing to it?
There's a possibility that man's contributing to it.
Wouldn't you like to take out insurance against that the way you... This is the planet we're talking about. There's only one.
Take out flood insurance. What is this money going to third world countries for? $30 billion from American taxpayers.
Take up on this.
Anytime Pat can bash poor people in Africa in the third world, he takes the opportunity to do it.
Poor people aren't getting the money.
The reason this money is going to go to those countries is to preserve the forests that are the lungs of the earth. Now, look, there are no serious scientists at serious scientific institutions who don't believe that we have a problem of man-made climate change. And, Pat, most conservative political leaders in the world agree with this.
I don't understand why conservatives
you
are
and Jim Inhofe are
You're a conservative, aren't you?
I'm interested. Look
what would Teddy Roosevelt be doing right now? Teddy Roosevelt be fighting for this thing.
He would recognize what a scam and a fraud and hoax this is. Look, Chris, what did you just hear? We're paying them $30 billion so they won't burn down their forest. Why don't you tell them?
Do you think free markets are going to solve this problem?
It is not a problem, is what I'm saying, Chris. It's you guys are scaring yourselves to death with your own propaganda. It is a religion.
What would convince you? It's not propaganda, and you will not. You will not answer one reality. There are no serious scientists who agree with you.
Look,
no serious scientific consensus that agrees with you.
Have you heard of the Heidelberg Appeal? 4,000 scientists, 72 Nobel Prize winners.
4,000 fringe people disagreeing with the overwhelming consensus of science.
72 Nobel Prize winners.
Let's get back to basics here. Do you think? I think we can find comment. Do you think it's good to have our rainforests in Latin America, like the Amazon, all those areas that provide such good, as he points out, health for the client, for the lungs of this planet? Do you challenge that it's better not to have them raped and torn down? Do you want everything developed?
No, I don't. I would tell Brazil, stop burning down the rainforest. I wouldn't have to bribe them.
Well, suppose they won't do it.
Well, then they don't do it. They're responsible for this.
No, well, they're responsible. This is our planet,
they're going to come and get my tax.
We don't have a rainforest.
They're going to get my tax dollars. If you're that
worried, are we on this planet together, or is it every man for himself?
It is every country for itself.
It is?
It sure is.
Well, that won't work when the sea levels rise, Pat.
If it's every man for himself. By the way, Pat, I got to ask you a simple question. This gets down to your belief in the market. If you allowed the developers in New York,
right?
If you gave them the right to start buying up Central Park right now, how long would it take for them to destroy Central Park?
No,
you can't. Right. So you don't really believe in the free market, do you?
I believe in zoning. That's not the free market. I believe in zoning.
In other words, sometimes the governments have to stand up and say, we're not letting everybody rape the planet.
Well, right, but what you don't believe in is fraud. Chris, there's been hoaxes all our lives.
And you said the only reason you, at your age, which is about mine, would accept is if the planet's about to ignite. And then you would say, said you want to see what? Hurricanes? What do you want to see?
Right.
You want to see the end of time.
Let me tell you something. 2005, they had
you buy fire insurance against the 1 in 1 million chance your house is going to burn down.
You had Rita and Katrina in 2005. They said the hurricanes are going to get worse. We had the best hurricane season we had in a dozen years, and not one of them made landfall.
It's about trend, Pat. It's not every year's worse than the year before. It's the
trend of hurricanes is down.
Shrummy, you just said it's the hottest decade in history. That's good enough for me.
Right.
The hottest decade in history?
Why don't you guys all make the contribution of your money?
Okay, see, it's every man for himself. I understand that.
Because just the liberals that believe it.
No, it's a collective planet.
Just move to a mountaintop. Put your house on a mountaintop.
All right, let me ask you something. Can you get $30 billion or our share of that through the Congress of the United States as foreign aid for third world countries to deal with?
I don't think you're going to cap and trade. Wait a minute. You asked a question. Let me answer it. You haven't even read the headline details of the proposal. It is not all public money. Much of it comes in the form of cap and trade.
Okay.
So the companies here, so that they can continue to provide compensation for people in Brazil or other countries not to burn down the rainforest. And by the way, it's not primarily Brazil. It's primarily the tropics in Africa. So read the agreement before you criticize it. Number two, we are going to get action on climate change, Pat, and it's going to discomfort you, and I'll tell you why. The Environmental Protection Agency will legislate if will regulate if the Senate doesn't legislate.
Please go for cap and trade.
Pat, where are you on evolution, by the way?
Where I'm on evolution, on macroevolution, I think God created heaven and earth.
Right,
what do you think?
I agree. Do you believe in evolution?
Microevolution, there are aspects of it that are true. Do I think we're descended from monkeys? No.
Do you believe that the man is part of the evolution on this planet?
No.
No, he doesn't. Well, then he doesn't believe in evolution. Pat, you're consistent. Pat Buchanan with the troglodyte.
He also thinks the earth is flat, by the way, and if you sail too far, you fall off.